So, you're thinking about moving abroad. First of all, amazing. I'm excited for you. But also, let's be honest, it's not just a vacation that never ends. It's a full-on life change, and some days will feel magical, while others will make you want to book a flight home the next day. I moved from the US to Norway, and I thought I had prepared as much as I could. I read the blogs, I watched the videos, even joined the Facebook groups, and yet within the first week, I was standing at the grocery store checkout almost in tears because I couldn't figure out how to buy vegetables. So today I'm going to give you advice that I wish someone had sat me down and told me before I went abroad. Before you move abroad, you'll probably spend months, sometimes maybe years, researching your new country. And that's a good thing. You should know the basics. How much rent costs, whether you need a visa, if healthcare is public or private. You'll probably fall down a rabbit hole of blogs and YouTube videos, and if you're anything like me, you'll have a Google Doc full of random facts or random tips that you think you need to know. But here's the truth. No matter how much you research, the reality will still surprise you. You can read all about the weather, but it's different when you're actually walking to work in sideways rain because your umbrella is useless. You can learn about public transport schedules, but it's different when you realize that sometimes buses just don't go, or they say they're going at a certain time, and then you get there and then they went at a different time. These little things, they don't come up in the glossy travel guides, but they become a big part of your everyday life. The key is to research enough so you know the structure, the rules, the systems, the costs, but accept that you won't be able to prepare for every cultural quirk or tiny inconvenience. That's part of the adventure. And honestly, it's those unexpected moments that end up being the best stories later on. Now, we need to talk about money, because moving abroad is expensive, and not just in the obvious ways. Sure, you have the big ticket items, visa fees, flights, maybe a shipping container if you're bringing all of your stuff over as well, but it's the sneaky costs that can catch you off guard. When I moved to Norway, I was very lucky to already have a place set up for me here, but I know that sometimes if you're moving into a new place or renting a new place, you sometimes have to pay a full month's deposit, plus the first month's rent up front, plus sometimes even a furniture deposit if the place comes furnished already. And that's before you even buy a single fork. And then there are costs that you really don't even think about, like replacing electronics because the plugs don't work or because the wattage is different. I remember plugging in my hairdryer here for the first time, and it literally caught on fire because it was spinning the motor so fast. Or paying for a new winter wardrobe, like in my case, because my Florida wardrobe does not cut it in -10 degrees. The best advice I can give is have a cushion. Even if you think you've calculated everything, add more. I'd say at least 3 months of living expenses in your savings before you move. And that's the bare minimum, because if you start your life abroad stressed about money, it's gonna affect how you settle in, how much you go out, and even how willing you are to try new things. And one more thing, if you can, figure out your banking situation before you go. I was not able to, and everything here runs on something called a bank ID number. And not having that really restricted me in the things that I was able to do. So try to figure all of those things out beforehand so you can just come over and start your life. I wish I could tell you that the hardest part about moving abroad is packing your bags, but honestly, it might be the paperwork. Bureaucracy is slow, complicated, and often in a language you don't speak. You'll need documents for everything: residency registration, healthcare, opening a bank account, even signing a phone contract. And they often want originals, sometimes notarized, sometimes translated, and like I just talked about earlier, sometimes you need that bank ID number or whatever it may be to be able to do anything. Here's what I learned. Make both digital and physical copies of everything. And for the first few months, what I did was I had a folder that I kept in my bag and a folder in my Google Drive. This folder included things like my passport, my birth certificate, my visa approval, housing lease, work contract, even tax forms from my old country, because you will be asked for them sometimes. And you especially need them in the flight over process, because you're gonna go through passport control and they're gonna wanna ask you all of these questions, and you're gonna need some form of proof that you're allowed to be there. And expect waiting. I waited over a year. Granted, it was during COVID times, but I waited over a year just to get my residency permit approved. And every year after that, every 2 years after that, I have to renew that residency permit, and it takes at least 6 months to get an appointment. So expect long waiting times and try to think of those things in advance. When you move abroad, you're leaving your whole entire support system behind. Your friends, your family, the people who understand your jokes without explanation. And no matter how excited you are, there will be moments where the loneliness hits you. I can remember the first winter that I lived here. Winters in Norway are notoriously cold and dark, right? The days were short, the weather was cold, everyone seemed to have their established routines, because of course they would. I had plenty of online calls with friends and family back home, but I still felt the ache of not having anyone local to just go grab a coffee with. Now, I am the kind of person where I am content with being by myself. So I think that helped me a lot coming here, because I didn't mind the lonely. However, if you're someone who is very outgoing and has a lot of friends and depends on that, it can be hard. And I can give you some advice still of what I think you should do if you want to find that community right away when you move abroad. Join immigrant and expat Facebook groups from your area. I'm pretty sure you can even go to meetups for like hobbies. Even if you don't have the hobby, just go. Maybe you'll pick up something new that you like and you'll meet other people. Eventually, I've built up a mix of local friends and immigrant friends, and I think that combination is key. The locals help me understand the culture, and the immigrants and expats help me understand the emotional side of adjusting to a new country, because they're going through it too. This might be the most important advice that I can give you. Be patient with yourself. Moving abroad isn't just a logistical change. It's emotional, mental, and sometimes even physical. You're basically building a whole new life from scratch. There will be days when you feel proud and capable, like the first time you navigate public transport alone, or you have a full conversation in the local language. And there will be days when you feel exhausted, frustrated, or homesick. It's normal. It doesn't mean you made a mistake, it just means you're human. Celebrate the little victories, laugh at the awkward moments, and remember that the adjustment period isn't something that you can speed run. It takes as long as it takes. Moving abroad will push you out of your comfort zone in ways that you can't even imagine. If you want to hear some of the ways that it pushed me, you can go watch this video. But it's also one of the most rewarding experiences that you can have. If you want to hear about those, you can go watch this video. You'll grow, you'll learn, you'll collect stories that'll make you smile for the rest of your life. So if you're thinking about it, do it. Just go in with open eyes, realistic expectations, and a sense of humor. If you've already moved abroad, let me know in the comments what your biggest surprise was. And if you're planning to move soon, tell me where. I'd love to hear your story. Remember to like and subscribe if you like this type of content, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.